blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essequibo. Daytime or night, though we may criticize.
I declare this 61st sitting of the National Assembly of the 12th Parliament of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana to be duly constituted and in session. The clerk will lead us in prayers.
Almighty God, we are gathered together to most humbly beseech thee, guide us in our faith, so that we may together build a land where knowledge is free, where the mighty God live, where the life, where words come together. Grant us, O God, to thank you and guide us, so that we may deal justly with serve the cause of for us. Laying aside all pride and confess, try this to first preference, the result of our coming, to be to the glory of thy blessed name, maintenance of fruit, preservation of justice, safety, honor, happiness, and presence, the peace of God, presence. Grant us, God, so be, God of the spirit life, and to that spirit that God of the truth, the mind that power thy youth, ever widely God.
In honorable members, please be seated.
Messages from the President. Announcements by the Speaker.
Honorable members, I know still we have quite a few members of Parliament not well. However, some are recovering quite speedily. So today, let us again continue in the same vein as we have done in the last 2 days.
Presentation of petitions. Presentation of papers and reports, etc. Reports from committees. Oral questions without notice. Questions on notice. Statements by ministers including policy statements. Personal explanations. Request for leave to move the adjournment of the National Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance. Motions relating to the business or sittings of the National Assembly and moved by Minister. Introduction of bills. Public business. Government's business.
Honorable members, we will continue with the consideration of the estimates. Today we have the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. The House will resolve itself into Committee of Supply. Thank you. House is now in Committee of welcome the Honorable Minister and his team from the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. I invite you, honorable members, to turn to pages 112 and 113. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 13, Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development Program 131, Honorable Cox, the mic, 131, Policy Development and Administration Current Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, I draw your attention to 6111. Sir, this line item catered for 16 staff in 2022 and expended a sum of 29.718 million, of which 31.679 million was budgeted. So when I do the calculation and I add the 8% increase, given that there is a decrease to 15 staff members now, it is coming around some below 32.095 million. Can the Honorable Minister guide us as to why the over budgeting to 33.175 million, taking into account the Auditor General constant guidance of us having direct budgeted figures for direct or fixed expenditure?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Chairman, the increase caters for, firstly, the decrease is as a result of the resignation of an officer within the chart of account. And the increase caters for, the increase caters for the salaries, the new salaries that have to be paid to staff within the line item.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Sir, line item 6291, national and other events. There is a significant decrease to $5 million from what was expended in 2022. The 2022 expended sum is $18.771 million. May I ask the minister, what is it that, what event was catered for in 2022 that will not be catered for in 2023?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a number of national activities, including Mashramani, Independence, and the different other holidays that we're catering for under this line item.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. A follow-up.
Turn the microphone off when you finish.
Me?
When you finish asking the
Oh, thank you.
because
Thank
we're
you,
going to
sir.
get the feedback.
Sir, I'm happy that for that guidance, the $5 million caters for those activities. But what I'm seeing in 2022 is a sum of 18.771 expended under this line item and a reduction to 5 million. So I would like to know what is it that is not catered for in 2023 that was catered for in 2022.
Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chairman, we have reprogrammed some of the activities that we had planned under this line item to other programs.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Sir, my final question on this program, 6302, training. Guided by volume 2 of the estimates, this ministry targeted 185 staff members to be trained with the allocated sum of $2.9 million, and all were utilized, but only 27 staff members were trained in specific areas. I see that there is a target now for 50 members to be trained, but the same sum of 2.9 is budgeted. Can the Honorable Minister say to this House, what are the reasons for the, what are the reasons, what are the training that will be given to these 50 staff members, and does he agree, given that 27 staff were trained with 2.9, that he will reach the target of 50 staff with the same 2.9?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I believe we will reach the target. And if I were to expound more, the training is not as linear in the way that Mr. Mahipal is describing it. And so the cost of the training and the number of persons trained has nothing to do with last year figure compared to the number that we intend to train during the course of 2023.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 13, Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, Program 131, Policy Development and Administration. Current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, if we can turn to page 498. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 13, Program 131, Policy Development and Administration, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Chairman, Project Code 1904-800, Infrastructural Development. The legend guides me that this caters for drains, fire escape, trestle, and plumbing system. May I ask specifically which drain or what are the drains that is catered for here?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, these are drains that are in the compound of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. And some may be exterior to the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, but they serve the purposes of drainage of the compound of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development.
Thank you, Minister.
Sir, can the minister guide me a follow-up?
Honorable
Thank
Member,
you.
go ahead.
Can the minister guide me if that means that they are widening the drains, or are they going to remove the current reinforced concrete drains that exist and replace it? And in terms of exterior, does this mean that you are redoing that concrete reinforced drain at the front of the compound there?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, we are enhancing the compound, the drainage system of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Whenever it rains, sometimes incessantly, the compound is flooded. So the resources are geared towards enhancing drainage of the ministry's compound.
Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 13, Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, Program 131, Policy Development and Administration, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 114 and 115. Same agency. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 13, Program 133, Regional Development current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 133, Regional Development current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, can we turn to page 498? And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 133, Regional Development capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable member, Mr. Mahipol.
Sir, Project Code 1904-100, the restoration of City Hall. Can the Honorable Minister give us an update as to the current status of this project, please?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm very happy that this question was asked. City Hall has been in a dilapidated state for a very, very long time. And no fault of this government, actually. One of the commitments President Ali made as soon as he took office was the transformation of Georgetown. And resources at the first cabinet meeting, resources were geared towards the enhancement of Georgetown. Subsequent to that, the City Hall, which is an iconic structure, both iconic and historic structure within the landscape of Georgetown, resources were allocated for its restoration. This building has been under the administration of the City Council for all of the years that the council has been in existence. And it is quite alarming, and I think even some words which we would not be able to use here. The City Council of Georgetown, controlled primarily and almost exclusively by the People's National Congress, and of recent vintage, the APNU-AFC, of which again the PNC is the primary partner. They have left this building to rot over a number of years. And it's quite unfortunate that the office of the city at one time was in the City Hall. And it became a national embarrassment for our country. So we have taken this grand step to ensure that this iconic structure, and this structure, the city transcends the politics of our country, and even goes beyond the minute details with which the mayor would like the city to be managed. I have the local government commission staff here, and oftentimes we have decisions of the council gone to some of those decisions went to the court, and those decisions had to be overturned by the court because of the imposition of the political directorate at City Hall. And what they have done over the last many years, they have refused to put resources towards cleaning Georgetown. They have refused to put resources towards the restoration of City Hall. They have refused to put resources towards safety and security in the city, where the constabulary has been hamstrung for decades. They have refused to put resources to the markets of Georgetown. They have refused to put resources towards the upliftment of the aesthetics of the city. But whilst they have refused almost everything to be done in the city, they have spent in excess of $2.1 billion per year. The majority of which went to pay staff, hundreds of whom may be what we call, quote unquote, ghosts. Because, so a lot of the resources went for political purposes rather than went to fixing City Hall. And that is why we have taken this step to make sure that we spend resources to fix City Hall and restore Georgetown to its original glory. That is what we have to do. And so, since this contract was signed, Mr. Chairman, we have been steadfastly working. The restoration is quite an intricate exercise. And as we are working, we are finding many other things that need to be fixed as well, or restored. So we will not fast track this process at the expense or compromise it on the quality of the work. But we have done tremendous work already, and so far we are on time to complete at the end of the contract period, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Ramchutan.
I heard that the minister indicated just now that this contract was signed. This is an appropriation to go towards a contract, isn't that so?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when I was a young boy, we used to look forward to Mr. Ramchutan. He has always been an eloquent person in the PYO, and he has always been studious. And it shudders my mind that from '92 to now, Mr. Ramchutan has deteriorated. That he does.
Honorable Minister, I think you're imputing there, you know. So please withdraw that. I won't have you, because the Honorable Member and I have been along the same path.
Mr. Speaker, you're getting better with time. So, Mr. Ramchutan ought to have known, we've had this, Honorable Ramchutan, ought to have known that we've had this contract running for quite a while. During the course of this year, Mr. Ramchutan. Okay.
Mr. Minister, in regards,
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
yes, as regards the status report that was you previously were asked, that this project is about 75% completed?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I've listened to this budget debate and over a number of years. And one of the things that I would like to make very clear, I'm trained as a project management professional, and the code of ethics that I subscribe to doesn't speak in terms of physical completion, percent complete, because we can complete this entire building, but the washroom is not fixed. So the building is not complete. So what Mr. Ramchutan is referring to is maybe the payments, the financial disbursements. So I can't commit to Mr. Ramchutan whether a project is 75% complete or not. What I can tell him is what has been done so far and what is left to be done. And I'm happy to report that we are moving on schedule, and I would invite Mr. Ramchutan at some point in time to visit the site. They have never visited. None of the members of the opposition has never visited. Despite they are in control of the city, they have never taken the opportunity to visit the most iconic structure in the city.
Honorable members, Honorable, I put a question that the sum stated for Agency 133 Regional Development Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. And we're on 17. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 13. Development, Program 134, Local Government Development, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipo.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, 6211, expenses specific to the agency. So from this line item, deputy mayors, REOs, overseers, NDC chairs, town clerks, chair and vice chairs of the respective regions, they receive their benefits in the form of stipends. And sir, mayors in the hinterland community and deputy mayors were getting $110,000 each and $85,000 each respectively. And town clerks in the hinterland regions were getting $78,000 respectively. However, this sum, as of 2021, these sums were cut, and mayors from the hinterland regions are now getting $75,000, deputy mayors $60,000, town clerks $50,000. Can the honorable minister say what is responsible or why were these sums cut for these officers in the hinterland community?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mahipal, honorable member, has forgotten a very important part of his questioning, the reason behind his question. And that is to say, there is a document that we have in the ministry that the last government issued on how much the stipend should be. What we have done is basically, if there is one thing we inherited and we are pursuing, we continued with, was the stipend paid to mayors, deputy mayors, town clerks. But just to say also, Mr. Chair, that councils are also allowed to pay additional stipend to their councillors, of which a mayor is a councillor, a deputy mayor is a councillor. They're also supposed to pay salaries to staff of their council, including the town clerk, who is the accounting officer of the council. So a lot of the councils, some have rated areas, some don't have rated areas. In cases where there are no rated areas, the government would assist in the payment of salaries, as we have done since we came in 2020. Every year we have done so for both sets of LDOs, the municipalities as well as the neighborhood democratic councils. So what we have been working on is to make sure that there is better collection, rate collection in councils. It is still very minimal at this point in time, and I'd like to use this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, to encourage the Guyanese people, including members of the opposition, for them to pay their rates and taxes on time. Thank you.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Sir, 6211, same line item. The stipends that are paid to the mayors, deputy mayors, overseers, NDC chairs, town clerks, chairs, and vice chairs, birthed out of the NCLDO, the National Conference on Local Democratic Organs. And it was a wide consultative program that allowed for these numbers that were fixed. And the mayors of the hinterland regions, 110,000, the deputy mayors, 85,000, the town clerks in these hinterland regions, 78,000, and these figures are now cut. My simple question to the Honorable Minister, why did they cut the stipends for these officers? And I would accept, sir, if you can please put to the Honorable Minister for an answer as to why they cut from these stipends.
Honorable Minister, reason for a reduction of the stipend?
Mr. Chairman, I have answered that question.
Oh, you did? Well, sorry. That's all right.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. In the interest of time, line item 6294, a significant increase here. Can the Honorable Minister say if this line item caters for more than the 13 landfill sites, and if there are additional landfill sites from the 13 that were there, how many more is added?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the management of solid waste is one of the biggest challenges we have in this country. And 13 disposal sites or dump sites or sanitary landfills would not resolve the solid waste management problems we have in Guyana. So we have started expanding on some of these. We have also included additional areas for operations. And so this line item will take care of the additional areas. And again, as I have the floor, Mr. Chairman, this is a national issue which all of us need to buy into and contribute towards alleviating. And that is the wanton disposal of garbage across our country. His Excellency the President last year, January, began and led by himself in Georgetown and across the country, national cleanup exercises. And unfortunately, we have not had the participation of any member of the opposition, any one of the 31 members of parliament. We have not even had a statement from any one of the members of the opposition on this issue. This is a national issue. This goes beyond your narrow political interests. And so I would like, Mr. Chairman, if you can also use your good office to encourage the opposition to join this effort as we move towards transforming the aesthetics of Guyana, including the city of Georgetown, which is still one of the eyesores.
Honorable Minister, I also would like to use the good office of the chair to see if you could give us an answer to the question asked about the landfill sites.
But Mr. Chairman, I answered. I said we have new facilities as well.
It's 13 now. We're trying to see how much.
It has increased, yes.
Increase.
Yes.
Honorable members, increase.
So, yes, I asked how many has it been increased to? From 13 to what?
Maybe to be determined.
Pardon me?
Maybe to be determined. Honorable
Sir, but I
Member
wish to
Mr.
quote,
Maipol.
sir, with your permission, the Hansard of last year, this very question. The Honorable Minister was very direct, and I quote, "We have 13 out of 15 landfill sites that we are paying for. We also have some additional ones that will be constructed this year." So that's last year. So how many were constructed this year that is added to this sum? I think that's direct on a figure, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 that were added to the existing 13. Please, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Member, Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We are 6 additional sites are catered for.
Thank you very much. And yes, let us all join in the efforts to keep our country clean. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can the Honorable Minister say from this sum, how much is allocated for the Hagbosh landfill site and how much will, the difference will be for the other landfill sites?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Hagbosh landfill facility has been, every day, more garbage is going. One of the issues we have is that it is also taking garbage from Region 3, where Mr. Mahipal has spent a lot of his years. Well, for the purposes of Parliament, for the purposes of this communication, Mr. Chairman, is one of the tenets of project management. So I have to communicate, people must know. So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mahipal is living very close to the sanitary landfill now. So I think that is why he might be interested. He lives very close to Higgs-Bosch now. It is almost $300 million that will go towards the management.
He's moved into Windsor.
But in one of the high-end lots with the high-end building, I think that's where Mr. Mahipal lives now. Auspices of the People's Progressive Party Civic.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 134 Local Government Development current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we can turn to page 498. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 134 Local Government Development Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipon.
Ministry. Maybe I sitting in my chair, I can't get it.
Continue your good work, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, project code 130200. Sir, in 2020, this budget, the budget had in it $50 million under this project code. And in 2021, we had 1.172 billion. In 2022, we had 6.9 billion. And here in 2023, we're having 13.122609 billion. Sir, in excess of 21 billion, or just around $21,244 million this project code had since 2020. And the two projects continue to reoccur in this project code line item, and it is the Monrepo market and Parica market. Since 2020, they have been coming and coming and coming. Would the Honorable Minister please provide us with an update on the current status of these two markets and if they are expected to be finished in 2023 or will they reoccur in 2024?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And again, we have put a lot of resources towards transforming regional economies, and marketplaces are a significant center of business in many of our regions. And these markets have been a hodgepodge arrangement for time immemorial. So President Ali, during many of his outreaches, and after numerous applications from people, we have decided as a government to enhance the quality of services at these markets. So resources have been geared toward Parica, Monrepo, Charity, many markets across the country. And we have consistently been upgrading these markets during different phases. And so until we are finished, you will see resources every year allocated in the budget for these markets. So for instance, at Monrepo, we are on the western wing, the eastern wing. We are about to complete that. We will actually have tile surfaces and almost modern, the eastern wing. We also have begun construction on the western wing, which will have a mezzanine floor as well, something that is alien to market structures in the country and which are a norm in many developed countries. So Monrepo is going to be one of the outstanding markets. In Parica, the area has been relatively congested for a number of years, and we have taken a decision as a government to, in phases again, to expand the market, to rebuild it in steel so that more persons can be housed in the market. And when we're finished, hopefully we'll be able to also get the vendors who have transgressed onto the road, for them to get back into the market in a proper environment to ply their trade.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, same line item. May I ask the Honorable Minister how many national pathway workers this project caters for?
Honorable Minister.
So, Chairman, a commitment of our government is to provide more opportunities for gainful employment. So this pathway program is a commitment of the People's Progressive Party Civic in our manifesto to make sure that as many persons get employment as possible. It actually came out, Mr. Chairman, and I have to give you some history behind it because you need to understand why it is here. This project, Mr. Chairman, came out, and a lot of the attention was placed in the rural areas because of the decimation of jobs between 2015 and the mid of 2020, in that period, where thousands of jobs were lost. So last year, we started implementation of this program. We've had almost 11,000 persons in regions 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10. And we are hopeful to intensify this, the implementation this year, and to expand this project to other areas where employment opportunities are not as, or are less available as they are closer to Georgetown and in the sectors of the economy.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipon.
Sir, just some guidance. Is the Honorable Minister saying that currently registered under the National Pathway Workers Project, the number of persons who are with this part-time job, the number is 11,000 right now? I understand that they are going to expand, but the current figure now, is it 11,000?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I said that last year we began with 11,000. Region 2, 2,000. Region 3, 2,000. Region 5, 2,000. Region 6, 4,000. And Region 10, 1,000.
Thank you, Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipon.
Thank you, sir. I do hope the minister take note that Region 10 has more population than two of these regions here, and they should be considered for more than 1,000. Sir, the community enhancement program, how many staff members how many persons are catered for under the community enhancement program in terms of a figure?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, again, this is one of the signature projects of our government that was birthed since before 2008 by President Ali when he was a technician responsible for community infrastructure development in our country. And what we've sought to do is to have more of these workers across the country in communities. They were substantially reduced between the 2015-2020 period. I think during that period, there were only about 15 to 1,600. We've now gone beyond 2,300. And the intention is to go to at least 3,000 across the country, and in particular in the local democratic organs. They serve an important function. They help to maintain the community infrastructure. They clean the drains. And again, I would like you to use your office, Mr. Chairman, to encourage the opposition and members of the country, our residents, to support these workers. And they work arduously for 4 hours per day in all conditions. And some of them even have to go into different types of environment, even at risk to themselves. So I'd like you to use your office as well to encourage this program.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, and I agree with you. All members of the House and our people should give a lot of support to these people. They do a good job in my
Yeah, I
community.
agree, sir. I agree. Our side agree also. We fully support them, and we believe they should get more money than what they're getting currently.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, go ahead with your
Thank
next
you.
question.
Sir, this same Pathway Workers Project, does the minister and his ministry see the need to not only facilitate these persons with employment and pay them $40,000 for 10 days work, but do they conceptualize, or will they conceptualize the idea of facilitating them also in these technical vocational training institutes across the country to further develop their skills, and they can be placed into permanent employment and gain more money and contribute greater to society and building our country to becoming the little Dubai of the South America?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, two things quickly. On the issue of Mr. Mahipal wanting the enhancement workers to be paid more, Mr. Chairman, it is under the People's Progressive Party Civic that their stipend moved from $25,000 to $35,000 per month. And that was done in 2021. So it wasn't during the 5 years. APNU didn't have time to pay them any increases in that period. But we were able to find money so quickly in less than a year, we were able to increase their stipend. Mr. Chairman, we are working in national interest. The country got to clean, the infrastructure has to be maintained. So I don't know why Mr. Ramjatan thinks by providing employment to people this is vote buying. Why would Mr. Ramjatan think so?
Honorable member, Mr. Mahipal was asking the question. Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chairman, on the second issue that Mr. Mahipal raised on the pathway program, the mere name of the program, a pathway program, would suggest that you can transition beyond the 10 days period. When the Vice President was across the country launching this program in the different regions, I recall in Region 3, the newest member of Parliament, Ms. Beverly Alert, participated in the launch at West Bank. At that time, I don't know if as a potential employee under the program or whether they were supportive of the program, but a lot of these pathway workers have already gone on to become teachers. Some are in training, they have gone on to be health workers at different levels. Some have become politicians as well, and possibly take over from Mr. Mahipal at some point in time in the near future. Because I know Mr. Mahipal is sitting on tenuous grounds in the opposition. See, he can't even take his own seat. So Mr. Chairman, I think this is a program that has to be intensified and supported, and everyone must be given an opportunity to participate, and the opposition should not be casting shadows on this program. All of the people who are employed under this program they're vulnerable, they're rural people, they're poor people, many are women, many are single mothers. This is a glorious opportunity for them to benefit from the resources of the country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I know that you will agree with me that billions of dollars started to flow into our coffers from the year 2020, and there is a lot of money that we now have to further develop our country. Sir, I turn your attention to Project Code 1902-900. Sir, this project code caters for subvention to municipalities, neighborhood democratic councils, and the figure that goes to NDCs is $5 million as their subvention. And I know that there is a formula in the Fiscal Transfers Act that deals with municipalities. And Georgetown, for some strange reason, with the largest population and the capital city, has been getting for the past 2 or 3 years $30 million, when other townships have been getting $18 million. And when you look at the population size, you look at the workload for Georgetown, I believe $30 million is not sufficient. May I ask the Honorable Minister if there is any intention to increase the subvention to Georgetown municipality from $30 million, and if so, to what figure? And will he be ensuring that the Fiscal Transfers Act is applied in terms of the disbursement?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, again, Mr. Mahipal, thank you for the question.
We'll answer it now.
And
Julius.
The city of Georgetown that Mr. Mahipal seems to be batting for, there are people living across the other 9 municipalities of
Yeah,
Guyana.
they're getting 18 million.
There are 3 in Region 6. There is 1 in Region 10. There is 1 in Region 9. There is 1 in Region 8. There is 1 in Region 1. And there is 1 in Region 2. So the resources, like I said earlier, they have to be managed properly. We can't be doling out government money into a crater that seems to have a bottomless pit. So I will tell you why I say what I say, and I think the residents of Georgetown need to know why. Again, Georgetown collects over $2.1 billion in revenue annually. And Georgetown, every single day, they're unable to pick up garbage in practically every single ward. Every single day, they have vendors in Stabrook, in Border, La Penitence, Kitty, elsewhere across Georgetown, in markets, who have some of the worst conditions to ply their trade. We have in Georgetown drains that are clogged. We have pumps that are not working. We have sluices that are left dilapidated. All of these were supposed to be repaired, reconstructed, rehabilitated by the resources of the city of Georgetown. However, not a dime from the revenue of the city of Georgetown, led by the PNC Council of Georgetown, has gone towards fixing the drains in Alboystown, has gone towards fixing the drains in Sophia, has gone towards fixing the drains in Laceytown, on Regent Street, on Robb Street, in Queenstown, in Kitty, in Newtown, in Camberville, in Cummings Lodge, in Kingston, in none of the wards of the city of Georgetown. All are being done by central government. All, including the roads as well. Hundreds of millions of dollars. But what I could tell the citizens of Georgetown as well, in answering the question, the mayor seems more intent on driving.
Honorable member, the mayor is not here and he won't be able to defend himself. So please let us refrain from naming that particular office holder.
Well, the chief citizen then, or the most prominent citizen, the official citizen of Georgetown, drives around in a vehicle with siren, sometimes running the Minister of Finance off the road, sometimes running the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development off the road, with resources that the government allocated to the city of Georgetown. And then also parades at public functions with a photographer, with personal. There are many things wrong with that. Many things. With bodyguards, armed driver. So, Mr. Chairman, the resources of Georgetown can be programmed in a much better way. The resources should be fixing the physical infrastructure of Georgetown. And then, Mr. Chairman, do you know they also pay themselves a quite significant stipend. They also pay themselves a quite significant stipend. Some of the members of parliament would be rivaled. Their stipends would be rivaled by what the Finance Committee of Georgetown, headed by a notorious PNC councillor, what they pay themselves. I can also say to you, Mr. Chairman, as I've said last year, for the purposes of emphasis and the record, And for the purposes that I do not allow APNU AFC to rewrite the history of this country. They have procured orally, not without documentation, a contract of over $579 million around 2017 for the cleanup of Georgetown. Over $579 million to one contractor. They have also procured a contract for $4 million per month to clean Regent Street to one contractor. And they owe that contractor up till now $40 million for a 10-month period. That is where the resources of the citizens of Georgetown went. It didn't go towards the development of the city. So we have to do the heavy lifting. The Ministry of Agriculture has to fix the pumps. We have offered, even through the worker enhancement program, to have workers installed as support to complement the staff of City Hall at some of these drainage facilities, infrastructure. And they refused it. I have the minutes of the meeting where they refused it. All to help the development of Georgetown. And this council, led by the PNC, APNU AFC, have refused to have the infrastructure of Georgetown fixed and in some cases addressed in a very efficient and effective way. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Will this notorious honorable minister increase the subvention for
You have to withdraw that.
notorious means popular in a bad way. But I'll withdraw with your guidance, sir. Sir,
I have never seen any pleasantries around the word notorious.
sir, the honorable member used the word notorious, and he didn't withdraw it. You didn't ask him.
We're talking about to address persons in this house.
Guided, sir, guided. Your guidance is noteworthy. Sir, will the honorable minister increase the subvention for neighborhood democratic councils from 5 million? And if so, what is the amount that is expected for that figure to be increased to? Because the provision caters for $1 billion, and with the $5 million to NDCs, the $18 million to municipalities, not municipalities, town councils, and the $30 million to Georgetown, the expenditure there was $714 million. So now that it has gone to $1 billion, what is the sum of assistance to these respective organs?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to use a term from, or to borrow a term as I usually do every year from my goodly friend, Dr. Ashni Singh. The attempts by Mr. Mahipal to bloviate in addressing his vicarious tendencies, I wish to proffer the following. One, the subvention to the municipalities and to the neighborhood democratic councils were increased last year directly and indirectly. Every single of the 80 local democratic organs in this country can tell you that their accounts were enhanced, were embellished by more resources since President Ali took office. That is why they're able to spend and to do much more than they have ever done before. And this year, again, more resources will be placed to the 10 towns and to the 70 neighborhood democratic councils. More resources. So it is in the budget. So I don't understand why Mr. Mahipal would want to think that his bloviations will end up in the resources being increased. It is already in the budget. So, and this is because of the thousands of consultations we've done across the country. We know that much more has to be done, and that is why more resources are placed in these bodies. So you are aware now that more resources have been placed, and it is not because of the protestations of Mr. Mahipal, and neither the bloviations of Mr. Mahipal.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the
And
three.
by the way, you don't have 10 minutes, you have 4.
Where's Chris?
We started at 90 minutes after the hour.
Sir, I have 3 other questions. I would crave your indulgence, and I don't mind taking back it from Region 3 because I will also be questioning on Region 3.
Just for some information for everyone, we can use, I've stopped the clock. We can use savings from a previous head and apply to subsequent heads, but we can't take time from a subsequent head here, right? So we can't shortchange the bottom head. But Mr. Mahipal, you've done well, and you probably will have the indulgence of the chair.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister, the $3 million that were given to the municipalities during the second week of January this year, and they were told to keep it in their account and await instructions on what to spend it on. Can you guide us what they will be spending it on?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I am responsible today to discuss the estimates of 2023. I don't know what Mr. Mahipal is about.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister to turn his attention to 3600-300, and sir, this caters for the provision for stormwater pond and landfill gas management system at Hagbosh sanitary landfill site. But this was also in last year's budget, and the Honorable Minister committed that this would have been completed. So may I ask the Minister for an update on this? And I also note that there was mention about a landfill site in Wakenham. Upon checking, sir, and communicating with a number of residents, including the chairman of the NDC for Wakenham, there is no landfill site at Wakenham, even though it was catered for in last year's budgetary spending, and all were spent out. So may I ask, where is the landfill site in Wakenham, and an update on the stormwater pond and landfill gas management system that was supposed to also be completed last year?
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the issue of Wakenham, we had requested the Neighborhood Democratic Council to earmark a piece of land that the construction can take place, and they have not yet done so. So resources had to be reprogrammed. Similarly, at the Higgs-Bosch sanitary landfill, a lot of the resources earmarked last year for the stormwater ponds, those were reprogrammed because the solid waste issues became much more important during the course of last year. As a matter of fact, our production of solid waste in the country, with all of the construction that is taking place, with the expansion of the oil and gas sector, we are collecting much more waste in different areas of the country as well. So resources were garnered and reprogrammed to address a lot of those circumstances at that time. So that is why we have it programmed for this year.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
Sir, my second to last question is, in 2 years ago, there was in the budget the creation of a dump site at Lima. And in this budget, I'm seeing the closure of dump site at Lima. May I ask what is the reason after 2 years for it to be closed so quickly?
Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chairman, I don't recall us saying that we were going to create a dump site at Lima. As a matter of fact, Lima, from where Mr. Mahipal originates, they've had a dump site for a long time. What we did in the first period of our government, this government, was to do some upgrading work to make sure that it doesn't complicate the circumstances of the environment. What we have also done in Region 2 is we've begun to close the smaller facilities at Charity as well as at Lima, and we are now constructing a modern facility at Zorgan Flight, is it? Yeah, Zorgan Flight on the Essequibo coast.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol.
So my final question. On the Regional Economic Transformation 1904-300, there is a sum here for $1.5 billion, provision for community-driven entrepreneurial interventions, which is basically the SLET program, Sustainable Livelihood Entrepreneurship Development. May I ask the Honorable Minister, what is the criteria for persons to apply for assistance through the SLET program, and how many persons from this 1.5 billion is the target, and is it that they have decentralized it to cater for persons from all the regions, and if there are caps within the regions, what are the numbers?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this program has a history. The SLET program, it has a history. And this House would recall, and again for the purposes of the record, historically this program was centralized. Centralized to the extent that during the period of AP and UAFC, ministers of government, members of parliament, senior officials, including senior officials of the current opposition, personally benefited from the SLET grants administered by AP and UAFC. We are currently conducting a forensic audit of the program during the course of the administration of the AP and UFC. And to give you some tidbits about what we have found, it will be egregious. When Mr. Norton hears of who amongst his cohort, how many of them have benefited, some in the millions, Mr. Chairman, some in the tens of millions, and one in one case, through some quote-unquote organization set up in the Rupununi,
Sir,
more than $165 million.
Honorable Member, point of order.
Thank you, sir. Content of speech. The Honorable Member referred to the Leader of the Opposition by full name without saying Honorable, and I believe the guidance must be taken.
Thank you very much for that point of order. I uphold it. The Honorable Minister has consistently throughout the last hour refused to either use comrade or honorable, as stated in Standing Order 41-5, I think it was. So, Honorable Minister, please.
Honorable
The Standing Order
Aubrey
says
Norton.
we use Honorable, Mr. or comrade, if you want.
Honorable Aubrey Norton would be shocked to find out that members of his honorable cohort, or honorable members of his cohort, in the opposition have benefited, in the current opposition, have benefited from SLED, centrally directed during the last government. Millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, and in one case, Mr. Chairman, there were some bodies that were created in the Rupununi, and almost $165 million went. And I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, when the audit is fully complete, I would be surprised if the specialized or the special organized crime unit doesn't take action against those who pilfered the SLED grant program. I would be utterly surprised. We have embarked as part of our commitment to regional transformation, regional economic transformation, and more particularly the transformation of our villages. President Ali made a commitment in 2020 to make sure that small businesses benefit as much as possible, and small people, many of whom are single mothers, many of whom are vulnerable, benefit from grants such as these. So during the course of this year, Mr. Chairman, we will intensify the distribution of grants across the country. We did not, it was never centralized under this government, as Mr. Mahipal may have hinted, honorable member. So, Mr. Chairman, could I say Mr. instead of honorable, or I have to say both?
You have to say both, or you can say
both.
comrade.
Okay. So, you're not my comrade. The Honorable Mahipal. So we will, it has never been centralized under the PPP. People from Region 10 benefited, Region 2 benefited, 3, hinterland, different parts of the country. And we will have thousands more that will benefit during the course of 2023. Unfortunately, in the last government, it was a handful that benefited. Now, the masses will benefit from this program. So I hope that answers your question, Honorable Ganesh Mahipal.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 134, local government development capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable member, that concludes our consideration for this agency, this program, this head. And we want to thank the Honorable Minister and the staff of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development for taking us through these estimates. At this time, let us invite Region 1, the Minister's staff from Region 1, to join him on the other table. And Honorable Minister, I would not deduct, you'll have the full hour. Honorable members, we can turn to pages 324 and 325. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Region 1, Barima Winey, Program 711, Regional Administration and Finance, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Chair, I have two questions under this program. 6117, there's an increase of more than 150% of the revised sum from last year. So my question to the Honorable Minister is, who are the 180, who are the additional temporary employees, their responsibilities, and how exactly does the region see them impacting efficiency in the administration?
Honorable Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the increase caters for one confidential secretary, a data entry clerk, and two accounts clerks, one checker, one clerk, two general, two stores clerk, two typist clerks, two office assistants, one boat hand, one caretaker, one driver mechanic, one outboard motor operator, two cooks, three cleaners, three laborers, one stores attendant. And in terms of how we see their work transforming the region, Mr. Chairman, that is a very important question, asked by someone who I had actually planned to address in this way, the Honorable Ronald Cox. These people go to work, and we're able to monitor their work, Mr. Chairman, quite unlike Mr. Ronald Cox, who I have received, who's also a staff being paid from this region under the Honorable Ronald Cox, who also receives over $240,000 per month as a teacher under the education program of this region, of which I'm the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, and that I'm responsible for. And Mr. Cox, I would like to use this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, to encourage him to go to work more often. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I don't see the relevance, but I just want to say one thing before I ask the other question, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the regional education officer is sitting right there, and I would love for her to provide the evidence that suggests I am being absent otherwise when I'm here at Parliament. I want to also say that yes, I'm a teacher, and I teach 3 subjects: geography, Caribbean history, and Spanish. Last year, those 3 subjects, the Redo can conform, got 100% pass, all 3 subjects. Mr. Chair, the other question is expensive specific to the agency. Could the Honorable Minister state the expenses by giving details that are considered specific to this agency?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you're aware, Mr. Chairman, President Ali, during the National Two Shows Conference held last year, announced an increase in stipend for all of the Two Shows of Guyana and community council chairs. So this line item would take care, in addition to, well, for their stipend, it will also take care for the stipend of councillors of the region. And again, last year, President Ali announced an increase in stipend for all of the councillors, the regional councillors. So councillors previously used to earn, or they were paid a stipend of $10,000 per month. They are now paid a stipend of 30,000 Guyana dollars per month. Also, just to, in the same vein, but which is covered under the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, the ministry's budget, the stipend for regional chairs and vice chairs, those stipends were also increased. Retroactively, 7% in 2021 and 8% in 2022. So they also have received a substantial increase in their stipend on the directive of His Excellency the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and which we are very grateful for, and they are all grateful for.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Region 1, Barima Waini, Program 711, Regional Administration and Finance, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, please let us turn to page 531. Same agency, Program 711, Regional Administration and Finance, Capital Expenditure. And I propose the question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 711, Regional Administration and Finance, Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let's turn to pages 326 and 327. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Region 1, Barima Waini, Program 712, Public Works current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Line item 16117. I just would like the Honorable Minister to detail the temporary employees, the responsibilities within the Public Works Department of the region. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this increase caters for 3 carpenters, 1 equipment operator, 1 mechanic, 1 plumber, 1 welder, an electrical assistant, the tool room attendant, a heavy-duty vehicle driver, 1 vehicle driver, and 5 laborers.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 6251, maintenance of road. Could the Honorable Minister state which roads, and this is in particular the Matakai area, will be catered for under this line item? Additionally, could he also state the kilometers of roads to be catered for and the category of works to be expended under this line item?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, President Ali was in Matakai very recently and made commitments on doing, his government doing quite a number of roads in Matakai, both in Kaituma and in Machus Ridge and Arakaka. I would like to report to you, Mr. Chairman, that a lot of those works have already begun. 4 roads in Machus Ridge, work on the Arakaka Road, roads within Kaituma as well, concrete roads. Hundreds of persons are now employed, where employment used to be, or unemployment was a major issue in the last many years. The region will also be working on doing additional roads in different parts of Region 1, as a matter of fact, in all of the subregions, all 3 of the subregions. And these roads will complement what is already done through the Ministry of Public Works, as well as through the Ministry of Natural Resources. So for the first time, we are having roads going from Komaka in Mabaruma, heading towards Wauna. We are on concrete road from Komaka waterfront in Moruca to Kwabana. These are your old trails, Mr. Chairman. And within the NDC of the Matakai NDC, Kaituma, as well as Matthews Ridge, we are also doing many concrete roads. I actually received some pictures this morning that part of the road is 1 lane of the road, a 2-lane road going towards the secondary school in Port Kaituma, that children are now on a concrete road going towards the school in Port Kaituma. So we have quite a number of roads that have to be done. We are also extending the road network in Moruca going towards Manawaran. We are extending the road networks going towards Waramuri. We are moving into Kamwata and Mora and those different areas. And we are doing similarly as well in the Mabaruma sub-region. So a lot has been done, a lot more is being done, and we are working assiduously to make sure that Amerindians are mainstream in the physical infrastructure of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I want to applaud the Minister for actually realizing the roads that we could not eat is now a priority. Mr. Chair, 6253, maintenance of drainage and irrigation work. Could the Honorable Minister provide a breakdown of this sum with respect to the 3 districts within the region? Could you also state the level of work location to be undertaken under this line item?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just to let you know, Mr. Chairman, that all of these works are going to the Amerindian people of Region 1. Something that was alien many years ago, 5-6 years ago. Right? And during the PNC time too, Mr. Chairman. What we have done is gotten back on the platform that the PPPC laid. So we are doing desilting work in Mabaruma, in different areas of Mabaruma, including Komaka, and Mr. Mahipal will know, Honorable Member will know these areas very well. They have a lot of rum shops in these areas. In Moruca, in some of the creeks, because it can be treacherous traveling in some of these creeks. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mahipal was transferred to Region 1 on his request, and he said only 1 week, and I have reports that he was supposed to have been there for a few months. So I'm shocked that Mr. Honorable Member only spent a week when he was supposed to have been there for a few months. And the guest house bill was racked up for more than 1 week at the expense of the taxpayers. So in Moruca as well, and in Matakai, in all of the sub-regions, we'd be doing a lot of drain cleaning, desilting, cleaning some of the creeks, to make sure that there is free passage, and in cases where it is impossible to make those areas possible. And these will be contracts given to the Amerindian villages, councils, and in some cases, the enterprising Amerindian people of Region 1.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now Honorable Member Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Final question under this program. 6231, fuel and lubricant. It shows here budgeted sum for 210 million. I simply want to ask the Honorable Minister for justification in terms of breakdown for the allocated sum.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. To develop this country requires electricity, energy, something that the last government didn't support a lot, and which they seem to be criticizing very much during their time in opposition now. We have made a lot of commitment as a government to mainstreaming the hinterland villages, including hinterland people, including Amerindian people. And so a lot of the areas of Region 1, we have expanded the electricity network. In Mabruma, for the first time, Waramuri is getting electricity. We have expanded Muruka, Arakaka, Warapoka as well. I know you know that area very well, Mr. Chairman. Warapoka of the Waini, Manawaran, Wauna, Parakis. Yarakita, Kamwata, in both Kamwatas, in Muruka and in Mabruma. Whitewater, again, over 2,000 people. And so, fuel and lubricants, we have to spend a lot to. And what we've done too, Mr. Chairman, is to increase the hours in those areas. So there is electricity for a longer duration in these areas as well. And if you fly at night across those areas, Mr. Chairman, you'll see how bright and beautiful the place is now looking under the People's Progressive Party civil. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, Honorable Member Mr.
Yes.
Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A follow-up question. Could the Honorable Minister provide, with respect to Yarakita and Kamwata, the hours provided for electricity and the expenses on a monthly basis for these two areas? I only need these two areas, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, did you say Yarakita and Kamwata? So, Mr. Chairman, I am happy to announce that the hours have moved from 0 to 5 in this first instance. These areas never had electricity before. And now, under President Ali, there is electricity in Yarakita and in Kamwata, Mabruma.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Region 1, Barima Waini, Program 712, Public Works Current Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, please turn to page 531. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Program 712, Public Works Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 11000200 bridges. I would just want the Honorable Minister to confirm if this is the bridge, if the bridge at Cobrimo is part of the ongoing road project. If no, does this current road project cater for this bridge in a separate contract?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, again, Cobarimo is one of the areas that was left unattended by the last government. And you know why, Mr. Chairman? Cobarimo was left unattended because they voted for the People's Progressive Party Civic. That is a fact. And the AP and UAFC deliberately left those Amerindian people out, provided no infrastructure for them for 5 years. Absolutely no infrastructure. So we are moving electricity towards the Cobarimo village. This bridge is part of the access into Cobarimo, and we will also be completing a proper road into Cobarimo at some point in the near future.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The access bridge confirmation, is this the landing you're talking about or part? I asked if it's part of the road project. I know you have to pass over some waterways. In addition to that, the people of Cobarimo could not have been neglected in 5 years when the PP were in government for 23 years.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, one of the important things about local democracy is to make sure that when you have power, you serve everyone. You have to serve everyone. And those people were given no attention by the last government because they're supporters of the People's Progressive Party. And we have gone beyond the vindictive politics of the AP and UFC. We are now building a one Guyana, and I want to assure on behalf of His Excellency, every single village of this country will have an investment from budget 2023. Every single village. And irrespective of where in the country that village is. This bridge is part of the road extension into the village of Cobarimo. It is not on the landing.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 140040 roads. Could the Honorable Minister provide a disaggregate amount of this sum detailing the specifics of the road from Arukamai to Wangna? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. So, work is going to be done in both Maruka and Mabaruma. So, for the people of Maruka, the Skyline Road is going to be rehabilitated. That is 5 kilometers. In the road towards Arawansa, this has been an area that is practically remote in the Maruka sub-region. And we are going to be constructing a road towards that area. And we are also going to do a road from a gravel surface road from Arukamai to Wauna, which is going to help a lot of traffic in that area, especially for school children. Otherwise, the Arukamai people will have to come around by boat. So a proper road is going to be, a farm to market road is going to be constructed there during the course of this year. And it is approximately 8 miles of road that will be constructed.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 1902600, infrastructural development. Mr. Chair, I'm aware that there is ongoing concrete woodwork being done at Hosororo Hill. Can the Honorable Minister confirm that the construction of drains were not part of the original road project? If no, could he say when exactly these drains will be constructed as a separate contract? Or how is the region dealing with roads being constructed without drains, if the answer is yes?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, from what I could glean from what Mr. Cox, the Honorable Member, asked, He was basically asking if along the hill going up to Hosororo, if the drains are going to be constructed. Yes, we are constructing drains in 2020. And again, Mr. Chairman, that is one of the main areas where people live in Mabruma. And the road has been terrible, terrible, terrible for a very long time. And I used to drive there prior to 2015. Mr. Chairman, I know you used to drive there prior to 2015. And I know during the course of 2015 to 2020, as soon as it rains, you gotta crawl up, you can't drive up. So they have not done anything for, and again, Mr. Chairman, you know why they didn't build or resurface the Hosororo area? Because the Hosororo people voted for the PPP. That is how vindictive APNUFC was.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, 1400400 roads. I am seeking clarity from the Honorable Minister if I haven't heard it, but 1 Mile Road in Port Kaituma and the Eyelash Road, are they catered for under this line item?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, it is not catered for under the regional budget, but there is another agency of the government that usually maintains those roads.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr.
Thank you,
Cox.
Mr. Chair. Could the Honorable Minister provide more details on the other agencies or departments or ministries that would cater for these specific roads?
When he comes to that, if it's under him, yes. Because we have to ask a question based on this.
Mr. Chair, could you guide me, please? The Honorable Minister did answer, but I'm just seeking clarity on the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yes, you said for where you can find it, right? So
Yes.
I'm saying that ask a question based on this, and when the minister reaches that particular area, I'll ask him to crave his indulgence with us and highlight that at that time. Is that okay, Minister? Or you want to answer now?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did say that it is not catered for under this budget
Right.
of the regional budget, but another agency of the government does maintenance.
Yeah.
And so that is as far as I'm able to answer.
Thank you.
He's a maintenance.
Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 2601400 power supply. Could the Honorable Minister provide a detailed breakdown of the electricity distribution network in Mabruma, Barbina, and Komaka? Those 3 areas. Could he also state whether or not this include assistance to household, as many may be necessary in hinterland regions?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this line item caters for the extension towards, there is an extension currently going on towards Wauna and Tobago. And so part of it is a retention. And we're also buying a 525 kVA genset to complement what we currently have in Komaka Moruka. And we are also upgrading the transformers and line hardware in both Mabruma and Moruka, and expand the electrical grid in Barbina, which is also part of the Mabruma sub-region.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 712, Public Works Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members can return to pages 328 and 29. a second. I'm having a Mahipal moment. Honorable members, I now propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Region 1, Barima Program 713, Education Delivery, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, with reference to line item 6112, Tech Senior Technical. Education is part of my interest as well, as I mentioned previously. So a more than 100 million increase here is welcome. What I need from the Honorable Minister, though, is to say who are these 63 senior technical officers or staff, where exactly they'll be employed, their responsibilities as it relates to institutional strengthening.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I did say that I have ministerial responsibility for the Honorable Ronald Cox. So by deduction, Honorable Ronald Cox is my staff. So, Mr. Chairman, there is an increase of 83, and it caters for trained grade 1, class 1, master, Mrs., who are appointed on salary scale, the TS3 salary scale.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister confirm? He said 83. And addition, follow-up question. I need which schools are these persons appointed?
Honorable Member.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do confirm it's 83, and it is for the secondary schools across Region 1.
Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maintenance of building 6242. Could the Honorable Minister provide details of schools in Maruka and Matakai, which will be catered for under this line item?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we have right. Just excuse me, Mr. Chairman. No, Mr. Chairman, these guys do a lot of hard work. So they were just making sure that, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Your Honorable Minister.
So at Mabruma Primary, Santa Rosa Primary, St. Ninian's Primary, Northwest Secondary School Dorm, Kitchen, Busororo Primary, Chinese Landing, Santa Cruz, Paracina, St. Betty's, Obadiah, Arakaca, St. Mary's, St. Anthony's, Kamwata, Whitewater, Wauna Annex, Tobago, St. Dominic's, Santa Rosa Nursery, Matthews Ridge Teachers Quarters, Karaburi Nursery, the Teachers Quarters in Wauna, Potoquay Nursery, St. Anselm Teachers Quarters, Yarakita Primary, Kariako Primary, Warapoka Teachers Quarters, Asakata Teachers Quarters, Kwabana Nursery, Hotokwai Teachers Quarters, Carberry Teachers Quarters, St. Nicholas Teachers Quarters, and electrical works in some other areas as well, in some other schools as well. Mr. Chairman, President Ali has given us a mandate to ensure that all of these school buildings across all of the regions, that they are in premium condition, as well as the quarters where staff live, that for teachers especially and health workers, for us to upgrade all of their facilities so that they can be much more comfortable than they previously were.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Mr. Chair, follow-up question. Could the Honorable Minister confirm that under this line item, there is no provision for the Peter and Paul Primary School in Marijuana, where children have to traverse the Burima River to Smith Creek at a building where there is no other provision other than a building to attend classes?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, it is in the budget, but it's on the capital program of the budget of the region. So,
Thank you very much.
And we're happy to report that we are going to be building the school, and we have already done upgrade work at, for those kids who are going to school from Smith Creek as well. And the honorable member would know. Well, I don't know if you would know because I've never really seen him around marijuana. And whether he has gone there, because I usually, Mr. Chairman, whenever I go to these villages, I would go through the visitor's book because I would like to know who come and visit these people. I don't recall the honorable member Ronald Cox's name is in the visitor's book in Marijuana, neither across the river at Imbotero or at Smith Creek. I've never seen honorable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Yes, thank you,
Please
Mr.
sign
Chair.
the visitor book the next time.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, for December, let me inform the Honorable Minister, for December, I was in Imbotero and Marijuana 2 times.
And you signed the book.
No, I did not sign the book. I did not visit on an official working day. So I could not visit the institution to sign the book. But I was there. Mr. Chair, 6292 dietary. I am interested in knowing the number of schools in Region 1 which will be catering for breakfast for students, pupils or students under this line item for 2023.
Honorable Minister.
So, Mr. Chairman, all primary and nursery schools, I am happy to announce on behalf of the Minister of Education and the President of Guyana that they will all get hot meal, primary and nursery schools of Region 1.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the question is specific. The minister replied hot meal, but I asked, well, I don't know which hot meal he's referring to, but I asked with specificity to breakfast. I know they have lunch, and I know the ministry is also implementing a breakfast program. So I'm interested in knowing how many schools will be on the breakfast program in Region 1, not lunch.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, the hot meal that is provided at lunchtime. These children have never received breakfast before, and at some point in time, when we get to that stage of being able to provide, we will be able to provide. I don't know if Mr. Cox is referring to the 5Bs program But the 5Bs program in the last government, Mr. Chairman, was very discriminatory. There were only 18 buses for 214,000 school children.
5 years.
Mr. Chairman,
There were
there were only 30 boats. There were only 30 boats for 214,000 school children. There were less than 1,000 bicycles. There were less than 1,000 bicycles for 214,000 school children. And again, when these bicycles were distributed, a lot of these poor Amerindian children, a lot of the poor rural children did not get because their parents were not PPP supporters, APNU supporters. Only PNC agents, not teachers, but PNC activists were the ones deciding on the ground who must get these bicycles. Then for one of the other Bs, the boots. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, if you go to any Amerindian village, and including the Rupununi, and including Shulinap from where Honorable Member, I almost said Kazakh. What's your name? Mr. Henry, Honorable Member Vincent Henry, where he purportedly reside, but having come from Oriala, now resident of the Rupununi. When you go to these villages, Mr. Chairman, and you ask about the 5Bs, when I found out about the 5Bs, as I said last year, the people in the Rupununi said, Comrade Nigel, that our children did not receive boots. They received shoes that grow. It was adjustable sandals. That is what the children received. Shoes that grow. And you know what, Mr. Chairman? That was not the end of it. When they were walking in the savannas, many of them used to trip down because the shoes were too big for the Amerindian children. And then when I went to Parabara, as I said some other time, I don't recall if I said it here, Mr. Chairman. When we asked about the 5Bs program, one of our colleagues in the crowd said, Comrade Nigel, which 5Bs? The Amerindians get 2 Bs in the Rupununi. And I know Honorable Member Vincent Henry continues to extol the virtues of the 5Bs program in this house. Doesn't speak about it in the Rupununi. So when I asked them about the 5Bs in Parabara, the guy said, Comrade Nigel, it's 2 Bs, we can have 5 Bs. So I asked him, which 2 Bs? He said, bear blows. That is what they did to the Rupununi people. The 5Bs program was heavily discriminated. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I've answered.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Mr. Chair, all right, let me thank the Honorable Minister, first of all, for his halftime show. But the question is still specific. Anyway, to the Honorable Minister, just for confirmation and clarity, no schools in Region 1 will be receiving breakfast for 2023. Is that so?
Before I put that to the Honorable Minister, I just want to let you know, Honorable Member, you have 14 minutes for the lunchtime show. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, the children who are receiving breakfast are those children in the dorms. And in Borabis, we will say tea, breakfast, and dinner, but for the purposes of the parliament, we will say breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The children of the dorm receive breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. Breakfast is not breakfast, breakfast. Where did you learn English? So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 713, education delivery, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, please turn to page 531 and 532. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 713 education delivery capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 1202600 buildings. Could the Honorable Minister provide an update on the Santa Rosa Primary School with respect to work being done and for the projection anticipated for completion date? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, under this line item, we are catering for the completion of the education office at Arnock in Port Kaituma, the construction of a primary school at Arnock as well. For the first time, the children of Arnock will have their own primary school under the People's Progressive Party Civic. And again, I'm wondering, Mr. Chairman, whether the last government deliberately left out the school children of Arnock because the people of Arnock vote for the People's Progressive Party Civic. And one would be terrified, Mr. Chairman, if I were to use that word, that the last government discriminated against children, school children, school children. We will also be completing the rehabilitation of the Santa Rosa Primary School. That school has produced quite some outstanding Guyanese, some of international repute as well. And it has been overcrowded for a while. It has been not fixed up for a while. So we are going to complete the rehabilitation. I would like to state to Mr. Ronald Cox, honorable member, that Peter and Paul Primary School, a new primary school, will be constructed. We will be extending Camwater Primary as well. The current school has over 300 children, and the capacity is just about half. The Kobana Primary School will be extended to. The Waramuri Primary School will be extended. And one of the areas called Tasawini will have a teacher's quarters, which we will also fully furnish. So those are the items under this this line item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 2502600 furniture and equipment. Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister state whether this sum caters for, could he say which schools this sum cater for in the Mabruma and Matakai district?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, We have a budget of $782 billion. $782 billion. More than 41% over the last budget. We have, within the regional development sector, a budget of over $68 billion. And Honorable Ronald Cox of the APNU AFC, a senior teacher at the Northwest Secondary School, is asking a question on $1.5 million, a budget line of $1.5 million. So that is why I've been taking my time to explain all the other things that are happening in the region. But we'll be buying, for the purposes of this 1.5 million, out of 782 billion, double beds, wardrobes, electrical fans, three-piece suites. Oh, Mr. Chairman, before I finish, in 2019, in Region 7, when we get to Region 7, the last government I have received at my office, invoices under the last government for a wardrobe in Etteringbang, $400,000 in 2019. I've also received for the similar amount for a bed set in Etteringbang in the last government, $400,000. I've also received during the last government an invoice that in Etteringbang again to weed a school compound in the last government in Etteringbang, $400,000. That was how schools and school children were treated in the last government. A bed for $400,000, a wardrobe for $400,000, and to weed a school compound of all places, $400,000. So we will also be purchasing dinette sets, stoves, and refrigerators. So quite a substantial number of things for almost the same amount of money that APNU was spending. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, with relevance to my time, could we be guided that the Honorable Minister stick to Region 1? We know the other regions will be coming up later in the day. Land and Water 2401500. Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister provide the details of the boats and outboard engines to be purchased, their horsepower, and will this be utilized by the Department of Education or will this be utilized by various communities for transportation purposes?
Honorable Minister.
Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And these are commitments. You know, the President, when he goes out, some of the issues that people raise, especially in these Amerindian villages, they are gut-wrenching. They become very visceral. And in these same villages, Mr. Chairman, with the honorable and glorious members of the opposition who have been in government for 5 years, we have to finally buy boats and engines. You know, they bought a lot of boats and engines, but we don't know where they are in some cases. We don't know where they are. So we'll be buying on commitment a 15 horsepower. We'll be buying 7 15 horsepower. We'll be buying 5 40 horsepower. And we're buying 1 75 horsepower. And it will provide transportation for 38 children in St. Anselm, 30 in Canal Bank, 40 in Kamwata, that's the Muruka Kamwata. 23 in Barcina, sorry. 39 in Kokrit. 55 in Marawana. So they will have their own school and their own boat. 50 in Barbina. St. Peter and St. Paul, we're building a new school. They will also have a boat assigned to them. Currently, children are paddling across the river, and that can become very treacherous. We are also providing for St. Nicholas, Santa Cruz, Cuevana, St. Betty's, Cariaco, and areas along the Barama River. So we'll be practically providing transportation for almost all of the school children in the riverine areas of Region 1. That's a commitment of President Ali.
Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 713 Education Delivery Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, please turn to pages 330 and 331. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Program 714, Health Services, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Line item 6117, temporary employees. We see an increase from 22 million to 156 million. That's just over 130 million. I just want the Honorable Minister to detail the 114 or more temporary employees and their specific job description.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so this line item caters for additional vehicle drivers, nurse aides, ward orderlies, the lighting plant operator, 2 of them, laborers, laundresses. So this line item will cater for their salaries and the revision of their salaries as well.
Thank you very much,
And,
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, just to indicate to you, His Excellency has made a commitment in the hinterland regions, including Region 1, that anyone who is willing to be trained as a health officer, whether nurse, nurse aide, assistant, or CHW, irrespective, or is a teacher, teaching assistant, a clerk, that we will employ all of them. And I'd like to use this opportunity through your chair, Mr. Chairman, to advocate for these areas and for these people to come on board so that we can continue to expand the quality of healthcare in Region 1 and all other regions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member Mr. Cox, we have now reached the 1 hour, but I'll give you one question on health, capital, agriculture, current, and agriculture capital. Honorable members, I now put a question that is sum stated for Program 714, Health Services. Current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, can we turn to page 532? And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 714, Health Services Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member Mr. Cox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I do understand that health is very important, And so I have only one question under this program. The 2502800, sorry, 1202400 buildings, health, 220 million provision for health facilities, quarters, and payment of retention. So I just want the Honorable Minister to tell this House the facilities as the health facilities in which communities will benefit, and if you could provide a breakdown with respect to that. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, happily so. I have until 10:30 this evening, and I trained for this course, so I will answer as many questions as possible. So we have some retention on work that we began last year, a pharmacy bond uh, at KDH, the Arakaka Health Center, the maternal waiting home in Mabaroma, the doctor's quarters in Whitewater, a health center in Asakata. This is one of the remote areas of Moruca. The upgrade of Kariako Health Center to a cottage hospital. I would like to reiterate that for the first time, we are going to have a cottage hospital in that area. We will also, and this is all part of His Excellency's commitment to expanding healthcare. Last year, we intensified maintenance work on practically all of the health facilities of the hinterland and on the coast. And this year, we will extend the St. Anselm Health Hut. We'll be constructing living quarters at Chinese Landing. This is one of the areas where we have, it's basically a lot of transient people. We will be extending Husuroro, better services. We will be completing Matthews Ridge Hospital. So the facility is partially complete, so there will be massive rehabilitation. We will also be extending the living quarters at the regional hospital. We will also be in Barimo, Coriabo, be constructing living quarters. Oftentimes, Mr. Chairman, these areas, we do not have the optimum services because of the conditions. I would also like to join with the Minister of Health in reporting to you, Mr. Chairman, that we are now doing surgeries, not outreach surgeries, but in-house theater surgeries at both the Komaka District Hospital in Moruca and the Mabaruma District Hospital. More than 60 persons did surgeries at Komaka District Hospital recently, and you will find more doctors being placed, better services, and with the enhanced telemedicine services now pursued by the government, you are going to find much more enhanced healthcare in the interior regions of Guyana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 714 Health Services Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, turn to pages 322 and 332 and 333. The Mahipal syndrome is now infecting my estimates. Honorable members, I now propose a question that the sum stated for Program 715 Agriculture current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that is sum stated for program 715 agriculture current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now turn you to page 532. And I propose a question that the sum stated for program 715 agriculture capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor, sorry, Honorable Member Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, could the Honorable Minister state the agriculture development initiatives to be undertaken under program 1301200 agricultural development with a sum of $28 million. Could he also provide a breakdown for the 3 districts, knowing that Region 1 has a very large number of farmers, and how exactly these initiatives will impact the agricultural development for these farmers? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is true that Region 1, agriculture is significant to Region 1. And since we came to government, agriculture has now come on the front burner. It was left unattended for a long time, for 5 years, as a matter of fact. And the opposition will laugh at this, but the farmers of Guyana suffered tremendously when the AP and UFC were in government. I recall as an opposition MP when we had asked for for support to farmers in the North Pacaraimos. The then minister who was answering questions on the regions said that there were no planting materials or any support for the Patamona and Mokushi farmers of the North Pacaraimos. I recall too when there was flooding in many areas of the country, including in Region 1. Support to farmers was negligible or practically non-existent. So with the advent of President Ali, now the lead spokesperson for agriculture in the Caribbean, you know, Mr. Chairman, at one time during the presidency of Dr. Jagdeo, we were also leading on agriculture in the Caribbean. We lost that mandate because of the repositioning of the economy in between 2015, the reorganizing of the economy between 2015 and 2020. Agriculture was practically dismantled, for want of a better term. And so Region 1 suffered tremendously as a result. And every time you go to Region 1, farmers are always knocking on your door for support to the agricultural sector. So we work very closely, the regional administration works very closely with the agricultural agencies of the government, led by the esteemed, distinguished Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, who has done tremendous work in the last 2.5 years in every single region of this country, in every sector or subsector of agriculture in the country, making sure that farmers get benefit, making sure that fisher folk get benefit, making sure that sugar workers, Honorable Member Ramjatan, also get benefit. And by helping the sugar industry, the Honorable Ramjatan will indirectly benefit. So in Region 1, during this year, we will intensify the expansion of agriculture. So we'll be constructing shade houses in some of the schools and in some communities. One of the challenges of agriculture in Region 1 has to do with storage and distribution, handling. So we'll be, and this is a commitment of President Ali, we'll be building a storage facility in Mabruma for farmers. We will also, and this again complements all of the things that the Ministry of Agriculture is doing. We would be providing equipment as well, swing fog machines, motorized mist blowers, brush cutters for farmers, farming groups. We'd also be doing some empoldering. As a matter of fact, on the banks of many of these rivers is where agriculture usually take place. And so empoldering will be done at Unity Grant and in other areas of Region 1, but primarily in the Unity Grant area. As you're aware, we are also doing a lot of work in Marijuana and Smith Creek through other agencies in Moruca. And when you go to the Matakai sub-region, some of the biggest meetings you have, Mr. Chairman, are meetings that farmers attend. So we will also be providing a lot of support in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture to farmers in Matakai. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 715 Agriculture Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister and your team, for taking us through agency 7-1. Let the assembly resume. Honorable members, we will take a 1 hour suspension for lunch.